Welcome back into the film room, Billy Jones, alongside Ryan Schmatke, taking a look at the reunion of two old rivals as Missouri and Oklahoma set to go for the 97th time in series history, but the first time as members of the Southeastern Conference. Ryan, how are you? Doing all right?
Very good. Very
Glad
excited
to hear
to
it.
get into some film.
Yeah, it should be a fun one Saturday. Venables, he's still very involved in the defense and was one of the great coordinators in the sport. Obviously, at his time at Oklahoma and then at Clemson, before he went back to Norman to take the job. And Oklahoma's made a switch recently at offensive coordinator, so we'll see how that plays out. This Ole Miss game was the first game after they dismissed Seth Luttrell, so excited to see any new wrinkles that they showed.
Yeah, I think they didn't have the best start to the season, Oklahoma, that is. But I think the past two games, even with that loss to Ole Miss, played a good Ole Miss team and hung with them. No moral victories, obviously, if you're a football team. But they looked pretty good. Looked good against Maine, got some confidence, bit of a confidence boost. So I think they'll be a confident team coming into Como. Missouri a little bit on the ropes. After that tough loss to Alabama. But the bye week, hopefully you're building some confidence in the bye week. So we'll see how the confidence of the teams plays out. We'll see who's feeling better on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, I'm good to get right into it, Billy. We'll
Let's
look at
do it.
the Oklahoma offense first. So I just kind of want to get started with some of the run plays. This Oklahoma team, they're gonna want to establish the run game quickly. But have had I don't know. So this quarterback, Billy, he didn't start at the beginning of the year. Did he get hurt at some point and he came back?
So Jackson Arnold starts the year. We'll run through our listeners. We'll run our
Okay.
listeners through it real quickly. Jackson Arnold starts the year. He was the second ranked quarterback in the class 2 years ago. He was a true freshman
Okay.
last year. Played the bowl game. He was right behind Nico Iamaleava in the rankings. Struggled to start the year. Couldn't really hold on to the football. They bring in Michael Hawkins, who's a true freshman, to finish the Tennessee game. Hawkins then gets the job for the next whatever it was, 4 or 5 games. And then South Carolina, Hawkins has 3 turnovers in on his first 3 drives, and since then, Arnold's been the guy again. So there's been some flip flop there, but he has all the talent in the world. It's just he hadn't quite been able to put the puzzle together yet. We'll see if that
Yeah,
changes.
exactly. So we'll get into that. I think the way their offense is structured, Billy, it makes complete sense that you're kind of working with a quarterback that you still don't fully trust. And this throughout this game, this Missouri game, Billy, I think Oklahoma, as they have done for the past 2 weeks with Arnold behind the center, they're going to be working to build his confidence, get the run game going early, get him with quick passes going early. He hasn't turned the ball over since he's been back. He's thrown no interceptions. So I think this Oklahoma offense is going to be, I don't know if conservative is the right word, but they're going to try to drive the ball. They're going to try to run the ball, get quick passes, not take too many risks downfield, but try to consistently move the ball. So we can get right into it here. Like I said, they're going to want to establish a run anytime you got a quarterback situation like that. That's what you're going to do. Hard. This is a hard run right here. The running backs run hard. I don't think this is going to be the best O line that Missouri's seen all year. We'll review on this one. But this is kind of the base run play you're going to see from them, Billy. It's just a swipe zone. We're calling that swipe because rewind it. This wing back here, everyone that's just like an inside zone, they're stepping to their, I think they're stepping left. Yep. 87 is coming to kick out that end. But Billy, on this play, and this is kind of how a lot of the Ole Miss game went, almost a good defense, but their O line struggled a little bit. Saw a lot of penetration from Ole Miss, and their running backs were able to run hard and they were able to run the ball a little bit, but I think their run game flourishes when they get a lot of misdirection type stuff, quarterback reads, because Arnold can run the ball, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I think base running the ball, they're not going to be the best team just running inside zone up the gut. If you're Missouri, you can't let them just, establish that inside zone right away. They're going to have to take that away and make Oklahoma really work for these yards. So that's kind of what I'm seeing from them in the run game. And a lot of these runs, a lot of times you got an RPO tagged on, just a little screen. I think he's making pre-snap reads as if he wants to throw an RPO or not, but most of the time he's handing the ball off. Sometimes he's reading the DN too. I think this is a give right away, but sometimes he's reading because he can run a little bit too. let's see. I think this is early in the game. Wanted to show this one because this is how. Oh, actually, I'm gonna go back to one thing on that last play too. We talked about it some weeks. That running back motion, you know, kind of fools linebackers a little bit, so they can't really read tendencies too much. Thought I hit on that because we hit on that last week a little bit. But anyways, next
Right.
play. I think we talked about. I think Missouri ran a play very similar to this when we were prepping for Boston College. I think they ran against Buffalo, where they huddle and I'll just let it play in live speed, but they're going to come out to the ball really quickly, establish the defense is kind of, trying to communicate, bang, snap the ball. Almost bottles up kind of well. It's a 4 yard run, so it's a win for the offense. But nonetheless, they're going to do this a lot, but they're going to come out of the huddle quick. Right here, Ole Miss is still talking. They're just loading bodies right here on the outside to try to out leverage Ole Miss before they can, adjust. When you're a defender, you want to be set and ready to play on this play. 16's now, he's talking. Hard to be really confident and aggressive when you're a defender. If you're trying to communicate the coverage, communicate whatnot. So I expect to see that a lot out of Oklahoma. They like this play too. This is just a pin pull. Like I said, these guys out here, I think we talked about this last week, they're pinning all these defenders. Then you're sometimes a tackle and a guard, center and tackle, two guards. We'll see what it is on this play. Looks like, yeah, you're gonna have this tackle and the center pulling out a little bit. So, you got your pin, those are your pull guys. So again, that's another base run play you'll see from them a decent amount. And actually I skipped forward on here, but if you can see, this was the play right after 12 to now 10 seconds are gone and they're already up on the line. So that's another thing we're going to see at Oklahoma a lot, Billy, a lot of no huddle. I think this is also just to, when they feel like they can't really sit back and run the ball up the gut or, feel really confident in their quarterback, a good way to get the defense a little bit scrambled and give your quarterback quick and easy throws is to go no huddle. Again, right here, Oklahoma, they're ready to go. You're looking at Ole Miss right here. They're still communicating. They end up in man-to-man here, Billy, and they're trying to talk their way through it. What ends up happening here is this backside linebacker for Ole Miss, because they're sending a blitz here, it's going to end up being man on the running back. It's a cover one. I think this guy's the high safety, and this guy's on the back. Everyone else locked in on their guy.
Mm-hmm.
But because they're going no huddle, Billy, Ole Miss doesn't have the time to talk through, all right, I'm not in a good position to play man-to-man on that running back. Let's bump that blitz over to you, the other linebacker. We'll switch roles, or, maybe me and the safety will switch roles. I'll let him try to come down in the back and maybe me free up in the middle and be more of a hole player. But like I said, since they're going tempo, they don't have the time to work this out. You're going to see them still trying to communicate. Ball snapped. He realizes he got to get over there.
Right.
Quick, easy throw. If you're Jackson Arnold, that goes down for a, completion, a 30-yard pass, right? It looks great on the stat sheet, great for the QBR, but really barely had to do anything there. Just had to listen to the play call,
Yeah.
get to the line, get everyone going. I think that's what we're going to see a lot this week. That's kind of what we've seen the past 2 weeks from him. So credit to the Oklahoma coaches building his confidence in that way because, you can make it hard on a quarterback or you can make it really easy on him and make him feel a lot better about himself. So, yeah, I'd plan to see that.
Yeah, and that's got to do stuff to a defense too, right? Because when you watch Oklahoma, I mean, it's not a consistent. It's not like Tennessee or Ole Miss where it's play in, play out. They're getting up to the line. They can vary tempo a little bit too.
Yeah, they can. That's true. Yeah, and when you're playing like a Tennessee, I can assure you that all week when you're on
Right.
defense for Tennessee, you're saying they're going to do tempo. They're going to do tempo every single play in practice. All right, we're running tempo. We're getting back to the ball. We're running gassers after practice to make sure we're in shape. But yeah, like in Oklahoma, it's probably not at the forefront of your mind because maybe they're not known for it. So yeah, like you said, switching up the tempo, is a good way to confuse the defense, especially if as a defender, you feel settled into the game and, you're kind of reading things and all of a sudden they hit you with tempo. A lot of times, if a team's down early in the first half, it's like, all right, we got to go do something different, do tempo, and they'll get themselves right back in the game. So expect them to mix up the tempo, like you said. And I'll show this one that saw him do this a couple of times recently with a lineup and empty motion guys back. I think I got another play later, but this play right here, this is just a power flash read. I think it's a good NCAA play. They're basically just running zone with these guys. This wing back, I'll rewind it a little bit. Actually, no, sorry. Power flash read. This guard's pulling a little bit. These guys are all pinning their blockers down, right? You got your double team here. These guys 1-to-1 backside. And then this guy's going to kick out anyone he can find. Besides the guy we're reading this defensive end right here. Now, if I'm the quarterback and I see him fly upfield to take away the run, I'm going to pull the ball. And now if I see him sit and take away the quarterback run, I'm going to hand the ball off. And then we got our lead blocker too. Arnold makes the right read here, sees the guy run up. Now I'm just taking it up. We got a QB power up the field. Takes a bit of a hit, but that's a good run for Oklahoma. That's a 7-8 yard run. So that's kind of what I was saying earlier, Billy, when we were talking about, their O-line. I think they're going to want to do a little bit of misdirection type stuff to get the run game going, because I don't think they're going to be able to dominate up front in the SEC level. But whenever they get any misdirection, defenders going the wrong way, reads to where you're, isolating guys, they've been pretty successful so far.
Yeah, and that was a big concern going into this year. It's pretty atypical for Oklahoma not to have a highly touted front, but that was something all offseason that people pointed to is a big weakness on this team. And I think with a lot of the injuries they had at receiver, that's part of the reason this offense has struggled so much. I just don't think either quarterback's really had a chance to get comfortable because they haven't been able to establish the running game, and then they really just haven't had their big difference makers on the outside. Now, Jalil Farouk, questionable. He might be able to go Saturday. That's maybe something they can do, but like you said, whoever's calling plays, obviously two different guys have been trying to do it for Oklahoma this year. You got to find ways to scheme around it. That's certainly one way to do it.
Yeah, and you got to give credit to the new coordinator, because their offense has looked good enough in the past 2 weeks to be a good team, even with, like you said, not the healthiest team or maybe not the best team up front. So got to give them credit. You're giving your guy, you got to know your guys and know what they do well. And like on this play, I feel like they're giving everyone a really manageable job, Billy, right? I mean, you've got key block here is a double team. You're telling your guys a double team. That's something that's totally doable. I mean, you've got guys flying out as a distraction. It's a read, but since he makes the right read, now he's basically got a blocker here, and he's kind of got a two-way go. So, I mean, he's making it, the offensive coordinator making it a little bit easier on his guys. So you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah. Joe John Finley, I think, like you mentioned, has done a decent job since he took over play calling duties. You used to coach out at Missouri, so going to be a little bit of a homecoming for him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good for him.
We'll see how that plays out.
And I think, let's see, is this yeah, so this is another instance, like we were talking about a second ago. I'll let this one just play so, the viewers can kind of see what's going on here. You're going to tackle him 9, 25, 24, 23. All right. I just got tackled on the quarterback, but I'm going to get right up. Obviously we got the Connor Stalions rule, the stuff in the headset. He's already got the play with 30 seconds on the play clock. They're lined up and they're ready to go, and bang. This is exactly that play we saw earlier where they're getting to the line quick, trying to out-leverage them. Pre-snap, I mean, look at Ole Miss as the ball is being snapped. I mean, that's not a defensive formation. When you look at the, video games, 4-3, 3-4, 4-2-5, whatever, that's not that. I don't know what that is, Billy. That's not really good.
Yeah.
So, I credit Ole Miss making this play to having seen this formation before and seeing exactly what they did last time when they went no huddle and ran this, and they all just kind of sold out on that. This guy right here, this defensive back, is saying we got to roll this way, roll cover 3 or roll whatever they're doing this way, and I got to go set this edge. And he really makes this play and lets everyone else finish the play. But expect that from Oklahoma. Try to, if they get a positive play, a positive run, especially to get to second and medium, second and short. All right, we're going to run the ball again to get a manageable third down.
Yeah.
They're going to want to try to stay in front of the sticks if we're using football terminology, Billy. So this right here, this is another instance of them starting out an empty motion. This one isn't a power flash read. This is a design QB run. So, they're really not afraid to get Arnold involved in the run game. He's a good athlete. And another way that, if you're not running the ball well, to get the quarterback involved too, that all of a sudden you got to honor multiple guys if you're the defense. So I like this play a lot, though. They start out empty. So, if you're a defense, you're kind of thinking about a pass defense. Motion your tight end back in. Now we're motion a running back type guy over. And look at this this block from this guy. I think this is a really cool play design. A lot of times, and we've talked about it in past week, if I'm a linebacker, a lot of times we'll read guards, but in a week like Oklahoma week where we see a lot of swipe zone or a lot of, power flash read or whatever, this wing back, this tight end guy is going to take you to the ball, right? And I don't know if they're reading guards here, they're reading him, but I think they're reading him because 54, if I'm this guy and I'm reading my guard, you kind of see it looks like his eyesight level is a little bit up. If I'm seeing 54, he's pulling the other way. The ball's going the other way, right? So
Yeah.
10, if you're both these backers and you're keying 10, he's starting to go this way. All right, we're probably thinking he's going to hand this ball off. But then 10, all of a sudden, whoop, I'm going to go back the other way, get you a nice block. And then boom, success. 4-yard run, not a big run. But I mean, they're working, they're not just handing the ball off getting 4 yards. They're doing a lot to have to get those 4 yards, but they're consistently establishing the run by doing that, which is, you got to give them credit by this kind of crazy play design, but cool play
Right.
design, 4 yards. All of a sudden, 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6, you're ahead of the chains. You can try to run the ball 2 more times or, set up your quarterback for easy, quick slant or screen or whatever. So that's going to be what Oklahoma's going to try to do this whole time. And if you're Missouri, you got to do what you can. If you can stop the run early on a first down, 1st and 10, bang, set them in 2nd and 10. I think that's where you're going to see success. Be able to bring those, athletic packages in to play, cover one, QB spy or whatever that they do,
Right.
and third and long. So it's all
Yeah.
about getting in front of the sticks of Oklahoma, making them get behind it if you're Missouri. So, and yeah, Arnold's a good athlete. He can run, and trust me, if there's any quarterback that you're afraid of running the ball, it's going to be a guy with a chip on his shoulder, and he got benched, so he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. A little more confidence going into this game, but still trying to prove himself as that, that highly touted prospect that he once was. So he's going to
Yeah.
be a hard run. So this one, I think, yeah, it lags on me a little bit, but this is late in the game, Billy. I mean, talk about, a scary situation. You're a quarterback, right? Got benched for a little bit. Away game, ball on the 2-yard line in our own end zone. We're going to be passing the ball. Again, though, Billy, this is just Oklahoma trying to get him easy throws. Roll out, flat route, bang, easy completion. And I think I'm gonna let this clip play. I think it keeps going here. Yeah, I just skipped 4, but this is the next play. All right, because we're in a passing situation right now. Oklahoma doesn't want to be in these passing situations, but we're fourth quarter down 2 scores. Got to start passing the ball. But still, nonetheless, we're just throwing easy throws. I mean, obviously that one, he's reading the ball. He's going through his progressions downfield.
Yeah.
But does a good job. I mean, if we were worried about him turning the ball over earlier in the season, does a good job working through his reads. No one's there. I'm going to take the check down. Not going to cough up the ball in this situation. Going to try to go a little bit of no huddle. I think I'll let this one play. Call's already in. Bang, get into the guys. Still 30 seconds on the play clock. Defense doesn't have too much time to adjust. They're a little bit late getting out there. Bang, ball snap. What are we going to do? We're going to do another quick throw. This is a great play by the DB, but just wanted to show these 3 plays to show that when they're going to get in a passing situation, Billy, they may try to go deep, but it's going to be about the quick throws and the check downs. Actually, I could have let this flip keep rolling. I cut it off, but the next play was a screen, and then the next one was a running back swing pass.
Oh,
So,
really? Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty fascinating. I was like, I could literally just keep going with this. But
Yeah.
that being said, Jackson Arnold, they're just going to try to get him these easy throws. I mean, this one right here, I think they're playing some sort of like banjo situation, double bracket where, whichever guy releases in and out. Now I'm going to take this guy. If I'm him, I'm going to take this guy. This is good play design because, they switch. So now you got outside leverage on this guy and he's going to come back in. But DB makes a good play. I don't think he gets early. I think he makes a good play, but I'm a little bit
Yeah.
biased. But, anyway, we're not working about Ole Miss. We're talking about Oklahoma, and regardless of their route concepts, I really think Jackson Arnold's going to be trying to throw these quick throws. I've said that
Yeah.
like 5 times.
I
That's what
think
I'd expect out of him.
I think that's going to be on both sides too, especially because it's looking more and more like it is going to be Pine for Missouri on Saturday. So, we saw what happened the few times he tried to air the ball down the field against Alabama. It was ugly. So, I think both defenses are going to be very aggressive in this game, and we'll see who can consistently keep moving the ball forward. I think that's going to be a big part of the game on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting QB matchup, like you said. Both guys that you're trying to get their confidence built up if, you're Missouri or Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma does have a little bit of that advantage that Arnold here has had two
Yeah.
really three. I mean, I think I took a screenshot of some of his stats in the last 3 games at a pretty high QBR, no interceptions. But the thing was, it was like I can't remember if this Ole Miss game or it was this game. He was like 22 for 31 for only like 180 yards. So I mean, he's like I said, yeah, he's getting the ball out quick. That leads us in the next play. This we saw this one early. We've seen a lot of teams run this one actually, where this is kind of that man beater, cover one beater. Line these guys up close. They're just gonna run mesh in here, and then now we're swinging the running back out. I think this play kind of glitched out on me, but regardless, this is just another instance of them. This is a design throw to the running back all the way. I don't think they're actually playing man here, but a lot of times Missouri kind of gets in man on third down, and they'll tell you that you're running man. So, Bill, I wouldn't be surprised if the very first third down that Oklahoma's in against Missouri, if they come out with that speed package playing cover one, that you see this throw right out of the gates. And to remind the viewers, what's basically happening here is a linebacker. A lot of times, if you're in man, is going to be on the running back. In this case scenario, it ends up being this guy's job to get him. And so we're just going to run in routes with these guys to try to cause confusion in the defense. They're kind of colliding, and bang, he's open in the flat. And that's not the end of the play. But regardless, that's a concept we'll see some from Oklahoma, and another way that you can get Jackson Arnold some quick throws and build some confidence in him early in the game. In this one, also just wanted to highlight 2 things on this play. Like I said, very good athlete, throwing the ball in his own end zone, and he'll air it out every once in a while. This is Maine. This isn't the best team that, Oklahoma's going to play, and you'd think that Missouri's DBs are a lot better than Maine's DBs, hopefully. But he can air the ball out a little bit. But really, my point on this one is that he feels comfortable rolling out and throwing the ball on the run. On that play we showed a little bit ago against Ole Miss, where it's 1st and 10 on your own 2-yard line. What you want to do is you want everyone to be comfortable. Like I said, this Oklahoma offensive coordinator has been doing what he can to get his players comfortable and do jobs, give them all a job to do that they can execute. And if everyone does their job, we're gaining a couple yards. He put him on the rollout on that first play, so you got to think he's comfortable doing those rollouts here. Chooses to roll out, makes a nice throw. So, you don't get to be the number 2 quarterback or whatever he was in his class if you're not a really good athlete and a really good quarterback. So, he's clearly got a lot of potential, Billy, but this will be a good game to see where he's at after, a few good weeks and, a good Missouri secondary. So it'll be
Yeah.
fun to watch.
And I mean, the talent's never been a question, right? That's been something everyone can see is this guy with his arm and his athleticism is going to be able to make plays. The issue's been turnovers with him. His start in the bowl game, I think he had 4 turnovers against Arizona. Earlier this year, struggled with turnovers. But like you mentioned, last 3 games, he's been playing mistake-free football. If he can keep that up, that's a reason for optimism, even though some aspects of this Oklahoma offense have been disappointing. Like if he can start to play to the level like we've seen in flashes, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're going into this game and you're thinking it's going to be a close game, turnovers are really going to decide it. If you're playing, 2 even teams, a lot of times what decides the games are turnovers.
Especially when neither's been scoring a whole lot, right? When it
Exactly,
comes
yes.
down to a low scoring game, when points come at a premium, can't give up anything easy.
Exactly, yeah. Especially if you're in your own territory and 3rd and 5 or whatever, if your throw's not there, throw the ball away, take your check down, scramble for a couple yards. I think Arnold's been doing that well recently. Drew Pine, obviously, against Alabama, tried to make some plays. Didn't work out too well, but we'll see. He had the bye week to reset. We'll see how confident he is in himself going into this game. Clearly, we'll get into the Oklahoma defense now. That's a good transition segment, but they're not going to be playing Alabama's secondary in this game. I think this is a defense that, even with Brent Venables, who's been a great coordinator and, a great head coach, I don't think this defense is the best defense they've seen all year. So we'll see how that plays out, though. We'll see. And yeah, getting right into it. as always, love to start with a couple run plays. I thought this play was interesting, Billy, because they're playing pretty positive. They're playing cover three here. It doesn't end up being a pass, so it doesn't really look like it, but you can tell this guy is ready to get to his middle third. This guy over here, if there was any threats out there, be out there on his third, and this guy's kind of getting depth. But what I think is interesting about this is pretty quickly, and so with that being said, this guy is the yellow zone, the hook curl zone. This guy would be the curl flat, the purple zone right here. But they're the DBs, I probably call this a 4-2-5, right? You got your four linemen, two linebackers, five DBs, and that's kind of what they stick in. They stick in a lot of 4-2-5 if you're
Yeah.
considering a DB and not a linebacker. But what I noticed in the Ole Miss game, and I don't know if this is because they didn't trust their D linemen or their linebackers to get the job done in the run, but it seemed like Oklahoma's defensive backs were pretty quick to trigger in the run game, as you see on this play right here. Like, if you're number 10 here, like he still can pull the ball and throw it. And right here, you got a 2-on-1 if he ends up throwing this ball right here, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought it's kind of something I thought was interesting because if you're looking at their D line, Ole Miss is getting a decent amount of push, right? If you're not flying up at DB, they're going to get a pretty good run there. So I don't know. That was just something I thought was interesting. Ways you can attack that if you're a defense, or if you're an offense, sorry, if you're Missouri and you establish the run early, get a lot of pushback on that D line, all of a sudden I'm an outside linebacker, I'm a strong safety, I'm flying up pretty fast in the run game, boom, play action, crossing right over the middle or send a guy deep. Because if you're looking at that safety, like if they do a hard play action and one of these dudes runs like a post or something, like they might be able to beat that guy deep. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting looking at their DBs on the run fits. But other than that, their run fits, I don't know, like from the D line and linebacker position, they don't impress me too much. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see if the discipline can hold up. I mean, that's always been a hallmark of a Brent Venables defense is their aggressiveness. Missouri can exploit it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what I think Drinkowitz said that in
Yeah.
the press conference. About how that their defenses love to attack, and so that this play would kind of show that a little bit. This is a little bit of that simulated pressure. We're trying to showing like we're maybe sending 5, sending 6 for the defense here. Maybe show a little bit of a man look. All of a sudden now these two guys are dropping out, and so this one ends up being it's kind of hard to see, and I wish we had the full 11. We didn't end up getting a rear view on this one, but this ends up being like a Tampa 2, and it's pretty cool how they do it. This guy right here ends up being the Tampa player, the middle yellow player, right? And then we've got this guy gets in late, but these are your two hook curl defenders. Then you got two flat defenders over here. On this side, I think it was an inverse 2. And on this side over here, it was like a normal cover 2. For the viewers, if you aren't too familiar with football, cover 2, we got one guy deep, a flat player out here to take away anything, quick out, run, whatever. And then this guy's kind of in that slant window. But so I thought this was interesting because they tried to most plays they try to show kind of like a too high or something. In this play, they get this guy kind of holds his disguise too long. This is 3rd and 7, but if he's right on his sticks, or right on the sticks, the yellow line, he's making that tackle before the yellow line, boom, first down. So, I don't know that it seems like they disguise a lot. Sometimes if you're defense, you just got to get in the right spots and play it, before the snap. But that's a pretty easy correction in film. I imagine you won't see that again. If I'm playing safety and we're in 3rd down, a lot of times I'm telling my underneath defenders, get to the sticks, get to the sticks. If it's like 3rd and 12 or whatever, a lot of times guys will sit at 10 yards, but I want them to back up to 12 yards. If it's 3rd and shorter, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 5 in this scenario, if I'm normally that underneath drop right at, my target at like 10 yards or whatever, I want to step up a little bit. These other defenders kind of do a good job sitting right there at the sticks, but since he's late, they end up giving up a first down. So this one right here, just showing another instance of them interesting disguise. Ends up being another Tampa 2 situation. Pre-snap. Let's see. I'm sorry. This is the look we're getting pre-snap. Got 5 at the line, maybe a 6 that could go. We're sending these 4 in the middle. That's that simulated pressure. Look, if you're this tackle, you're looking out at this guy. This tackle, you're looking at that guy. But all of a sudden, we're creating one-on-ones for our guys in the middle, and 71 isn't blocking anyone. So, talking about their defense being aggressive, they do a good job with their simulated pressures to mess up the O-lineman up front. But what ends up happening here, we've got 5s going to a deep half. These 2 corners, they're playing cover 2 because they're flat-footed. They're trying to reroute this guy, but staying in the flat. We got our Tampa guy in the middle and our 2 hook curl guys. He's not in a great position. Bang, first down. So, they mix in a lot of zone. That we'll show some instances where they play man, but I got to give Oklahoma's defense credit in this and that they really mix up what they do on their third downs, well, even on base downs too. A lot of times you'll see teams in base downs. A&M did this a lot, in base downs, they'll just sit in their base defense, whether it's cover 4 or cover 3, try to stop the run. Now it's third down. All right, now we'll attack. Here they're, on third down, they end up still doing and when I say attack, a lot of times it ends up being like a cover 1 or whatnot. Now we're attacking with that simulated pressure, but we're still dropping 7 in a zone on third down, which we like, and don't up getting the right zone, don't make the play. One thing I do find interesting though, Billy, in their cover 2, and a lot like this right here, if I'm a quarterback pre-snap, I'm really thinking cover 2 because this guy doesn't look like he's in a position to backpedal. He kind of looks a little flat-footed and like he's coming up, and the safety's already kind of getting out of there. But what I thought was interesting is their corners in cover 2 lean heavy on the inside leverage. They lean heavy on the slants. You can see both sides lines up right about the same time. They're funneling their guys out, which is interesting because if move this window right now, if he hits either of these throws right here, which we call a hole shot, a cover 2 hole shot, because you're fitting in between the deep half guy and the flat guy, but that's a pretty open hole on those hole shots. So I don't know if that's something if you're Missouri you look to exploit, but it seems like they like to be aggressive, try to take away slants right there instead of taking away out routes or whatever or it goes. But some instances, I feel like you'll be able to find some spots in their zone. So I think that's something that if you're Drew Pine, I don't know what kind of stuff is going to be going through his mind. He's probably just going to be thinking, get the ball to anyone open. But if you're reading pre-snap, if you're Drew Pine and you see cover 2, they do a good job disguising it up here, especially. But if you get any keys that they're running cover 2, maybe that, the whole shot is something you look to find. But, you hope that he can diagnose that pretty quickly post-snap if he needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this one, we'll get into an instance where, again, attacking a little bit. And when I say attacking, now run some man, some cover 1. What I do find interesting, I didn't see them. They disguise their zones a lot, and sometimes they'll show like they're, going to be in one zone, do another, which is kind of what happened on that last play. But this one's pretty. Whenever I see them play cover 1 or cover 0, it seems like they kind of stick to it. They have some tendencies that they'll show you they're doing it. We'll find some other plays where it ends up doing this, but they'll put this guy right here on the guy who's on the ball. Like if we have trips, only one guy's going to be on the ball. We want to press the guy who's on the ball and let the other guys play off. I mean, pre-snap, they're all staring right at their dude. This dude is not dropping into a zone.
Yeah.
Is
that true even if the on-ball receiver's on the edge?
I haven't seen any plays like that. Ole Miss
Okay.
a lot of times ends up with this guy on the ball, and I mostly brought down this, Ole Miss and Maine game, but
Right.
we'll see. But a lot of times, I don't know. I will say to the trips looks, they'd always have this guy in the slot on the ball. And then these 2 guys. Interesting to me that they're on the same level. You see that in cover 0 sometimes, but a lot of times you don't want 2 man defenders to be on the same level because if their guys switch, you're running into each other. But Ole Miss a lot of times were able to diagnose when they were in man, like they did on this play, and they're running a man beater here, a cover 1 beater, because they're getting outside leverage off man from this guy right here, and you want to run that over. You're running away from the safety and you're running away from your man, but don't end up making the play. So, Oklahoma's got some good DBs. If they can lock Missouri's wide receivers down to man, I think you're going to have a problem if you're Drew Pine. If I'm Drew Pine, what I want is if it's third down, I want to see that they're in man, and I want to see who Luther Burden is guarding and think, all right, he's going to get open regardless of what route he's running. And I don't even have to think about what zones. All right. Sorry for the cutoff. Like I was saying, guys, if I'm Drew Pine and I'm seeing this sort of formation pre-snap, and we'll get into some other keys that they're in man later, but if I'm seeing that they're in man pre-snap, I got to trust my receivers that they're going to get open, get on the right routes, get open against these Oklahoma DBs. But we'll see. I don't know. And go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just say that to me is going to be a massive matchup to watch because right there you see two Billy Bowman. I mean, he is definitely their best player in the secondary. With safety who oftentimes is matched up on the slot guy, and that's normally where Luther's able to do a good job. Is you know typically in the slot you're not getting somebody's best corner, best coverage guy, and he can go in and take advantage. Oklahoma, that's not necessarily going to be the case. So we'll see if he can take advantage. I mean, Caden Lee's in a really good receiver, and you saw in that play, Ryan. You talked about it. That's a matchup you like, right? That over route coming all the way across the field, and Billy Bowman, makes a real nice play there.
Yeah, it's a great job when if you're a safety and you're being coached to play catch man, which is kind of whenever you're playing off man or kind of playing a catch man, they're at 6 to 8 yards. I mean, you're not really backpedaling. You're just trying to let that cushion close, the cushion being the distance between you and the receiver. And he does a good job here. Instead of really back, a lot of times you'll see in this case scenario, and this is how this route works. If I'm a safety, when I'm trying to maintain my leverage, you can see, he's outside leverage right here. Kind of, I think you can tell, but I can tell, but the viewers that it's very slight, but he's lined up eyes basically in that outside hip. And he's doing that because in cover one where you got your safety in the middle, you know that you're getting help on the inside. And this is why teams will run this route against man because they know, yeah, if I'm here, I think I have help to the inside, but realistically, this guy's cutting under the safety. So in theory, that area right there should be wide open. This defender right here, by the way, is not really a hole guy. He's his back. He's on the back, but he's not going. So he ends up just kind of being serving as like a little hole guy there. But this is a great job by Bowman. Instead of backing up, he's just shuffling to maintain his leverage. You can see he's still keeping right on that outside hip, outside hip. Now the receiver breaks, bang, flying with him. Great closing speed. That ball really should be completed. If that was a good throw, probably getting the first down, but it's still pretty tight coverage for a route that is basically he's running away from you. A lot of times you see much bigger cushions on that route, so he's still there in the vicinity, makes a nice play. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, if you're Luther Burden, you got to think if he's running away from this dude, he's got the speed to get open. So then it's just on Drew Pine to make those throws, and we'll see. If you're Drew Pine, you probably went all year not throwing to the starting receivers, probably throwing to the backup receivers when you're getting reps in camp. So, I don't know how much of his struggles have been just not being used to playing with those guys and being on the same page as them. But hopefully after the bye week, after a couple more reps of actually getting with the first team, he feels more comfortable throwing to those wide receivers. So
Yeah, gotta hope
I don't
so.
know what you're talking about, but yeah, gotta hope so. I guess that's what it's all about. One final thing we can hit on this play because can't forget our love for the big guys. Pretty cool blitz design here. We talk a lot about simulated pressure or whatnot. This time, all the guys who show like they're going are pretty much going. But what we see Oklahoma do a lot, and I think there's some other plays that have this, but they'll do a lot of twists on the D line to generate free lanes to the quarterback when they're blitzing. So this play right here, I don't know. A lot of times, if you're an offense and you think five guys are going, you'll do like a man-to-man type type blitz pickup concept, offensive line concept. Once those guys blocking back, they're keying on their guy who's coming at them so they can target them. Sometimes you'll do more of a zone one that way you can pass up on twists, but they do a good job on this play, getting that center isolated on this guy, creating one-on-ones over here. This tackle is thinking he's got this linebacker, and all of a sudden this linebacker is going to loop over and give credit to these guys over here because they know it's not their job to get the sack, but it's their job to distract these guys over here on that loop. And this is a double loop, Billy, because really what happens is the tackle and the guard do a good job here. He's passing this off to the tackle. Tackle sees that. The guard's ready to take that loop. But he's looping two gaps over all the way. He started in the C over here, which is, those are your A's right here, B's in between the guard and the tackle. C's outside of the tackle. It's football terminology, so you know what gap you're talking about. But he's starting all the way in the C gap. Now I'm going all the way to the backside A. And you know there's no way these people over here are thinking about that. And that center is definitely not thinking about that. Boom, get in the face of Dart. I really think that's what makes him throw the ball high right here because he's getting kind of tackled low right after he's releasing it. So when we talk about Brent Venable as being aggressive and attacking, he's, maybe he doesn't have the D lineman or whatever to win the one-on-one matchups, even though you think he does, but who knows if he does or not. But he's putting guys in good situations. There's a really easy play for this linebacker to make. He just got to fake like he's going outside, bang, looping in, makes a nice play, decent coverage here. So that's a route, that's a play right there that Ole Miss should have won. If we're playing chess, they had the right play against that defense and they didn't execute based on, Oklahoma's execution of their play call. So got to give their defense credit there.
Mm-hmm.
This is another situation where, talking about that man where they're pressing this guy and all right, I'm gonna rewind this a little bit. Right at the start, Billy, if I'm a quarterback and Jackson Dart is looking out there, you'll see him if you want to watch him after you watch 5, you'll see him glancing out there. But what am I seeing from 5 here? What am I thinking here pre-snap? And you see him looking out there. What am I thinking?
Right. I mean, he looks slightly confused. It looks like they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with this bunch set coming at him. But he at least initially it looks like he's on the guy who's on the line of scrimmage. Can't see who that is.
Yeah. Look, you got it right, Billy, because they are confused, and we'll show you that they end up busting this coverage, and this could have been a touchdown. Ends up being a completion, but could have been a touchdown. But anytime you see a defender pointing at a person, look, Billy, he points at the receiver, and then he points at you. I'm pointing at you, and I'm pointing at a receiver. So anytime that happens, Billy, that's a pretty good sign that they're playing man-to-man coverage.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing a zone, you're probably not going to point at a guy. You're probably going to point where you want the guy to be. So anytime you're a defense and you're pointing at your guy to go cover another guy, that's a good indicator that they're man. Not only, I mean, they show with that, and they also kind of show with their alignment. But anyways, like you said, Billy, I don't know what 5 was saying here because it looks like he's saying you cover this guy. But then what ends up happening is he ends up covering that guy. And so he thinks he has that guy. Billy, if this guy right here didn't happen to be running a route to where he just happened to run towards everyone else, and he was just running like a go route or a deep out route, that's a touchdown. And same for, I mean, they do end up in a man beater though. Oh, sorry, I'm in the practice rooms down here and someone's playing a tuba over there. Freaked me out. Yeah, so this is another instance where Ole Miss knows they're in man-to-man coverage. He's seen a pre-snap. You can kind of see his head turn a little bit. Yep. All right, yeah, we're in man. Okay, and so he knows right away, cover 1. I know exactly what route I want to throw. I'm throwing that deep over route where he's running away from that safety, running away from his help. Bang. Didn't it? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, they get really screwed up here on defense.
Yeah, and then this rub route underneath. I mean, definitely.
And yeah, that's
those
another.
2 defenders blew each other up.
That's another instance where, yeah, whenever you're in man, that's why teams will run mesh. Mesh being that concept where you just have 2 shallow crossers to do literally this exact thing right here to try to knock guys out. Brother one guy, that right there would have been a huge gain. That would have been a huge gain. Again, I think 11 thinks he has the running back or is supposed to have the running back and gets knocked out. And I guess maybe on their blitzes, they'll say, if the running back goes up to your side, go with him or something. But if he throws the running back, big gain. This guy, big gain. That guy could have been a touchdown. Ends up throwing it to really the right read, man to man, which is that, deep crossing route. Ends up being a good completion for him. But I guess the moral of this story, Billy, is that if you see a team is in man to man, which you're hoping they'll do this some on third downs, or they've done some and they kind of showed on third down. If I'm Drew Pine, I'm hoping they're going to play man to man. And if you know a team's in man to man, the moral of the story is you just run a route that's going to beat it. And they're running routes all over the field here that's meant to be man to man and meant to confuse them. And you've got 5 defenders right here, basically on one dude, not on purpose, obviously, but ends up being a good play for Ole Miss. And those are the type of plays, if you're Missouri, Billy, that you don't need Drew Pine to make an outstanding throw, and you don't need your O-line to protect for too long. You don't need Luther Burden to go make a crazy catch. But if you got the right play for the right coverage, which you hope that you can diagnose that at the line of scrimmage, get into the right play call, all of a sudden you're getting Drew Pine some good throws, some confident throws. Anytime a quarterback can read the play pre-snap as Jackson Dart does here, know who I'm going to throw to, and know he's going to be open, that's a great way to build their confidence. He knows exactly where he's throwing it to. Gets a big gain. You just got to hope Missouri can diagnose that man coverage on third down for Oklahoma and protect long enough at the line to stop from doing that. Which, again, can't forget the big guys, Billy. Another instance of them trying to create confusion here. If you're Oklahoma, just kind of like this guy's looping in, now this guy's looping out, and Ole Miss does a great job communicating and picking it up. I'll let it play in live time so you can see what I'm talking about. These three guys here with that kind of crazy loop action.
Yeah, that right tackle does a great job when he when he sees that linebacker coming scraping down the edge.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're coaching up your O-line for this game, you don't need them to be heroes. You just need to protect them long enough to get throws off. And, I really think for how much of these twists you see from Oklahoma, you'd expect those O-linemen to be practicing kind of more of a zone drop back concept in those passes where, you're just working back. Now, whoever appears, I'm going to pick them up. And they do a good job of that on that play. Ole Miss does. So can't forget about the big guys. They make everything happen, Billy. Just getting to some of their base stuff on base downs, end up attacking a little bit less on base downs, even though I did say, they mix it up a decent amount. But again, just sitting there 4-2-5, up top playing cover 2. This whole concept is something that we normally call cover 6. Playing quarters up top for 2 on the boundary, 2, 4 plus 2 is what, Billy?
6.
Cover 6. Gotta love it. So playing cover 6, a lot of times teams will do this, want to be aggressive to the boundary, because a lot of times if I'm an offense, I'm going to put one of my best receivers in the boundary, try to make easy throws for the quarterback. Yeah, shorter throw. So the flat route to the boundary is much easier to throw than it is the field. So a lot of times we'll see teams be aggressive in the flat on the boundary. I've seen that a decent amount from Oklahoma. So maybe, that's something you can diagnose. Again, like we were talking about, it's kind of hard to see on that screen, but corner is taken away inside in cover 2. Now he's leaving a little bit of room for that hole shot. Don't know if Missouri will try to diagnose that at all. But, you see Oklahoma does try to disguise a decent amount pre-snap and not show you what you're in. But if I'm a quarterback pre-snap here, I know they're playing some sort of quarters of the field, because this safety, instead of being closer out to his hash, is coming all the way over to key off this other tight end. When you're playing quarters, you're worried about, if I'm the safety, I'm worried about the number 2 to my side. And if I'm the cornerback, I'm worried about the number 1 to my side, right? If they were playing quarters over here, 2 and 1. But now my 2's over, he's the 3 on the other side. So I'm kind of cross-reading if I'm the safety. And they end up, a lot of times you're playing some sort of quarters concept. That cornerback has got to be liable for anything going deep. So he's going to be a little bit looser in his cushion. Bang, that's an easy throw for Ole Miss. Again, talking about Drew Pine, want to just give him easy throws, big stiff arm there. But this is an instance where, if you're diagnosing the defense early, you see that safety come over, you realize that cornerback is, we're not giving a lot of help in the flat because it's a longer throw to the field. And, we're worried about throwing something deep. Those are instances where, you quick RPOs if you're Missouri. Nothing wrong with a 5-yard throw that gets us in front of the chain. So hopefully they can diagnose that, get some confidence for Drew Pine with some easy throws like Oklahoma's been doing for Jackson Arnold.
And then we're back to third down here.
Yeah, going back to third down, just want to show another instance. This one covers 0. We're sending 6. Actually, 7 guys end up blitzing here, Billy. I think what my guess is that 11 is playing man-to-man on the back. And anytime we're going cover 0, Billy, we're kind of hanging on our defensive backs to dry, right? Because they have literally no help, and the receivers can run all over the field, and you're going man-to-man. And again, right, this guy kind of pressing on the point. These 2 guys looking at guys clearly man-to-man. Anytime we're doing that, we're kind of hanging out our DBs to dry a little bit. So we got to get to the quarterback right away. And what teams will do in cover 0 is they'll tell the guy who's on the running back, if he's just going to block, go take him, act like you're a rusher, go hit him, make sure he can't run a pass route. but still add on to the blitz basically. And that's exactly what he does here. He's going to come up, boom, I'm just going to hit the running back and take him out of the play. And he does that because, look, can you tell me we got 4 guys running routes? Quarterback's got the ball. He's got to throw the ball. And there's 11 players on the football field. So how many people do we have protecting right now, Billy?
Right. I mean, they got 6 in their blocking.
6 protecting. And with that guy going, taking out the running back, how many
You
do we
have
have
your
going?
you got your 7th rusher.
Got 7 guys, Billy. So, I mean, it's impossible to block that guy. And that's exactly what happens. Boom, I'm getting through. Regardless of if we're running mesh right here, which we're running mesh, and 11's going to get open right here because we're in the right play call for man-to-man. Doesn't even matter because we're getting there too quickly, and he's got to throw the ball to no one. So, pretty cool from Oklahoma's defense. I like when teams do that. Instead of this guy just standing here doing nothing. If this guy were to stand here and do nothing, this running back is quickly going to try to look for anyone else coming. And it's going to be a tough play to make, but he's going to at least try to get that guy. And now when he rolls out this way, he's got a lot longer of a route to go. But because he's taught to go take that guy out of the play, now we got a free runner, 7 on 6. 7 minus 6 equals 1. We got 1 free rusher. And now it's a good play for Oklahoma. And that's an instance of, like we talked about, Brent Venables attacking, especially attacking on 3rd down. So got to give the Oklahoma credit. Oklahoma defense credit there for looking on the Missouri side of things, looking on the good guys side of things. You just got to hope that Drew Pine, like we said, diagnoses this early, gets in the right play. I mean, right away, this is where the ball is supposed to go. This guy is trying to pick off that defender. And if you can get that ball out quicker, maybe they make a nice play. But again, with 7 guys going, it's going to be a tough play to make. And so, moral of the story there, like we talked about Oklahoma, if you're Oklahoma, you want to, establish a run, get in front of the sticks. Same thing in Missouri. Anytime you get behind the sticks, you don't establish that outside zone game, don't establish those quick RPOs, don't connect on one of them. Now we're behind the sticks. Now the defense has the advantage. They're going to attack. They're going to be able to make plays like this. So that's going to be the key to the games, Billy. I think that's the last play I have. So I'm sure you want to talk about, keys to the game and whatnot. I think my keys to the game for both teams is if you're on offense, staying in front of the sticks. If you're on defense, the other team behind the sticks. I think that's going to be the moral of the story. And then the second key to the game is to not turn the ball over because, if you get behind the sticks early in a possession, it doesn't work out. You get 3rd and long, you get that blitz right there. On this play, Jackson Dart doesn't find the open guy right away. It would be a crazy play for him to make. He doesn't see the tough guy right away, but ball's out of there. I don't know. I think he's trying to throw the ball away, and that's, the mature thing to do, throw the ball away. We're up by 2 touchdowns, live to see another day.
Right.
If Missouri, you find yourself up a touchdown at the end of the game on 3rd down and you're getting attacked, which you will, the last thing you want to do is see Drew Pine try to make a crazy, miraculous throw. You just got to throw the ball away, take the sack, do whatever you need because it's going to be a close game, most likely would be my guess. Can afford to make mistakes like that because Oklahoma has shown that recently they haven't been making those mistakes. So you can't make those mistakes if you're Missouri.
And we'll see, right? Can they get those early access throws? It just feels, offense is so funny sometimes where it's just like once you're out of rhythm, it's so hard to get back in rhythm and every play call feels hard to execute. That's when you can really get yourself into trouble and then you're overthinking everything. Missouri's just got to find a rhythm offensively and they really have rarely found it at all this year. So we'll see if that changes Saturday.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. Got to wish some luck. I mean, I will say the one thing for Missouri, one thing I want to comment on. I mean, going into the season, you got your playoff hopes, whatnot, and all of a sudden it looks like those playoff hopes might be a little bit dashed after 2 losses. I guess you never know what could happen with 2 losses, but all of a sudden, didn't live up to expectations maybe. But at the same time, Billy, it's almost freeing in a way because it's like, all right, we're out here now. No one believes in us. We got our backup quarterback playing.
Yeah.
People are coming to this home game thinking, backup quarterback. Yeah, the season's over. We're not making the playoffs. But I don't know. I trust Drinkowitz as a coach that he's going to get his guys motivated and say, hey, we got a chip on our shoulder, but play free, man. I mean, don't worry about the playoffs. Don't worry about anything.
Yeah. That's all the window now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think that's a little bit freeing if you're a team, but we'll see. We'll see how they respond to that. I mean, I think it's going to be a really tight game. I already know you're going to ask me what my prediction is, and I'm trying to think about it. So I'm going to ask you first. Do you have a prediction?
Yeah, I do. I said going into the year, I thought Oklahoma was going to win it. I think they still do. Give me 17-16 Oklahoma on Saturday.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I'm with you, Billy. I don't want to be that guy, but I think have we predicted one wrong all year? I don't know if we have. We definitely haven't got the score
Well,
right for
I
all.
said I thought they were going to go down. Like I
It'd be
said, my
A&M.
A&M opinion was my head told me it was A&M was going to handle Missouri. My gut was telling me there might have been something in store. I was wrong though. So
Yeah, head gut. I hate to be that guy, Billy, but I think
yeah,
Oklahoma's going to pull this one out.
I think
And
so
really,
too.
Billy, if Brady Cook is in this game, I think Missouri is winning this
Completely agree.
pretty easily. And that's not, not a diss on Drew Pine in any means, and not a diss on anyone, but I just think Brady when him and Luther and his receivers have just had got that connection, having
Yeah,
started so many games now, and in one of these games you can't really afford to be not on the same page as a receiver because every single play is going to matter in a low scoring game, which I think it's going to be a low scoring game. You never know, but I'm with you, Billy. I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go Oklahoma 20. I'm going to give Missouri. I don't think I'm going to give them covering. I think I might go 20 to 14. I'll give them 14.
okay.
I'll go 14.
2014.
So I'm going to give them 10. Be like 2 field goals for Oklahoma to
Oh.
win it. So, but it'll
Then
be a good game.
yeah,
That's exciting. If you're a Missouri fan and you're listening to this, thinking, oh, they don't think we're going to win. That should be exciting. It's going
yeah.
to be a
Post
close
that.
game.
Post my stupid face in the locker room. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
put
what
us
they
on the
need.
locker material.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I
And
said something about what Oklahoma. I said, I don't know how their linebackers and D line go against the run. Put that on the billboard or
yeah,
on the locker for Oklahoma. That stuff fires me up. So, I hope I don't think any of them are listening to us, but you never know if they do. Drinkowitz, put us on the billboard. Brent Venables put us on the locker room or whatever, put us on the board. So yeah, I'm
yeah.
with it. It should be an exciting game. I'm excited to hopefully watch some of it.
And just fun. I think, especially for Missouri fans, one of the downsides of being in the SEC is, the fun part of college football is these matchups where the fan bases kind of mix with each other. A lot of Oklahoma alums
Yeah.
in the KC area, like you want these old school rivalries where, listen, it's not just about getting to 1-0. It's about making sure the other team is 0-1, and you don't have to deal with
Yeah.
the guy at work who, right? So that's something Missouri's lost, I think, since they've joined the SEC. It's a very historic series. And,
Yeah.
Missouri's not beaten Oklahoma a lot. So I know the fans would certainly enjoy a win. I think it's been 4 times since 1970. So going to be a
Wow. Good
big
on them.
deal for
Yeah.
Missouri if they can go out and beat OU on Saturday. Going to be one of the best shots they've had to do it in a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
Very
see.
exciting. And I think they're still alive in the SEC in theory, right?
I
Maybe.
don't know. Not with 2 losses,
No.
I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
yeah.
listen, a chance to get to double-digit wins and a big rivalry matchup, that should be enough to get you
Yeah. It's
motivated.
going to be a great game. Yeah.
Still a
Should be a
lot to
great
play
game.
for this season.
Yeah.
Ryan, as
Completely.
always, appreciate the time. We'll see you next week. Good luck this
Thank you.
weekend.
Of course. Appreciate it. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate. We'll see you next time in the film room.